Look, this probably did need to happen, given all that's gone on. But the season starts in less than 2 weeks. Danny Röhl's finally left Sheffield Wednesday after what seems like the longest drawn-out move ever. Let's get into it. The Wednesday website reads as follows. Danny Röhl leaves Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday can confirm the departure of manager Danny Röhl by mutual consent. The German coach joined the Owls in October 2023 and oversaw a successful survival mission to maintain our championship status in his maiden season at Hillsborough. Wednesday then consolidated the following term with Röhl steering the club to a mid-table finish in the second tier. Sasha Lenz, Chris Powell, Neil Thompson and Sal Bibbo have also departed S6. Sheffield Wednesday would like to thank Danny and his backroom team for their services and wish them well for the future. Right, we'll get into that other bit in a minute. And we're also recording a podcast. That's me just checking the date over there because all this cracks off. If you're watching this on the 29th of July, we're doing a podcast at 6:30 tonight, breaking down all of this because we've also just had news about the North Stand not being accessible, but that's too much for one video. Oh, God. So Danny Röhl has departed. I have made it quite clear I wasn't happy with his antics over the summer. It became quite clear the players also weren't happy, and that became sort of a rumour mill of now there's a rumour that it's actually Barry versus Danny. So it'd be very interesting to see if Barry Bannon does sign a new contract, because guess what? I'm always on Barry Bannon's side there. There was a lack of professionalism from Danny, but let's look at the bigger picture, okay? There's one man responsible for all of this, and it's Deshfon Chansiri, the man who is well beyond his time to sell the club. The club's value has gone off a cliff. It's rocketed so low that the murmurs about a takeover, they're all going quiet. Things are potentially happening behind the scenes. We're hearing bits here and there, sort of like things are still going on, but he's just dragging money from everywhere to try and support this club when we're coming up to payday, and I'm terrified that we're not going to pay the wages again. But I feel like a broken record with that one. Let's look at Danny a little bit more. Yes, I didn't like his professionalism. Yes, I thought he was selling himself to other clubs. Yes, I'm not happy with the way it went out. But I've got to look at what he did do. He was fantastic in his first season with us. He well deserved a new contract. It's worth mentioning he had a new contract signed there. And the next season, there was the interest from Premier League clubs. There was interest from other people. Him and Chansiri had that very notable fallout around December time, January time, and it all went downhill from there with him then selling himself towards the end of the season, basically making it clear that he was ready to leave the club. Now that has happened. But rather than the £5 million release clause, which we could have taken if we'd have done this the right way, it's mutual consent. Now, is that mutual consent got a little bit of a, okay, we want this fee. We'll take 500k if you sign for a club. That's part of the mutual consent deal. But let's be honest, in football, mutual consent usually means we're parting and neither team gets anything. My contract's just null and void. And Danny pops up at another club. No positive for Sheffield Wednesday there. If this was going to be the outcome, why is it happening 12 or so days away from the season kicking off? It's looking very likely, it might even be announced as this video is uploading, that Henrik Pedersen will take the number 1 place. He will be the Sheffield Wednesday manager, which is what we assumed when he re-signed as the assistant manager. Other coaching staff didn't seem to re-sign. Henrik Pedersen did. And it very much looked like this is going to be the man that takes us forward. And I think he signed a couple of years contract as well. So that's pretty much nailed on. And I am happy with that appointment, by the way. Consistency. It's very much said that the Wednesday players like Henrik Pedersen, and he was very much responsible for our on-the-ball work last season. So it's probably the best situation we could possibly have with Danny leaving in this manner. I do want to say Danny did something absolutely spectacular in keeping us up in that season. And why we were in that position in the first place? Because Deshfon Chansiri sacked Darren Moore for no reason after promotion other than they didn't see eye to eye, pretty much, allegedly. Allegedly, Deshfon. Then he appoints Xisco Muñoz, who was an absolute car crash, probably the worst manager I've seen at Wednesday during my watching Wednesday time. And then Danny comes in and he performs a miracle to keep us up. And we all buy in. We're all happy with it. We think, oh, if he gets backed. And let's be honest, in the window last year, he was backed. It's one of those things in football where if you spend 2.5, 3 million on a player, as we did in Ugbo, you think, we should be getting a return for this. Ugbo, unfortunately, forgot where his boots were last season. He's already kicking off in pre-season. I hope it's his season this season. Sometimes that happens, though. That's football. It's almost like Desron went, well, I've backed him there, but we didn't sign in the players we needed. We needed a centre-back massively. We needed to strengthen the defence a little bit more. We brought 2 good fullbacks in on frees, and we did really, really well, basically, on the cheaper side of the market with that big one marquee signing. So you could say he's backed there. But in football, he would have also needed backing in January. It was crying out in the middle of last season. So this is again on Chansiri, that Ugbo hadn't worked out. We needed a lone striker, or we needed somebody to come in and score us goals, because that is what we were really struggling with. Danny was overachieving with the squad again. We were touching playoffs. And then obviously we ended up with a very, very bog standard mid-table finish, which we all took. But if in January he just had that addition of backing, which is what he alluded to, then we could have kicked on. There could have been something more there. So I do understand Danny's frustration at not being backed. And then around that time, it was the talks about Southampton coming in for him, etc. And it all went downhill from there. We saw the lack of professionalism from not just Chansiri, but from Danny there as well. And it was just not a nice time to see it slowly going downhill. And then we've ended up here. Danny released this statement upon leaving Wednesday. A very special time is coming to an end, and I am incredibly grateful for the experiences we have shared over 21 unforgettable months together. He's basically been here for such a short amount of time. He's used it in, I'm going to talk about my toddler in age months. I thank our chairman for his faith and giving me this opportunity to take my first steps as a manager. I thank my players for such a successful collaboration, your tireless commitment, and for being great humans. I am proud of all of your personal resilience and efforts. Thanks to my staff, I'm finding it difficult to find the right words today. You are always there for me and the players too. You work with so much passion day after day, week after week. I am very proud to have had each of you with me over the last 21 months. From the first team evening to the last day, I could not have asked for better people to be alongside. I also want to highlight my gratitude specifically to my coaches Sasha Lenz, Sal Bibbo, Chris Powell, Neil Thompson and Henrik Pedersen for the fantastic bond we created. It was a pleasure to experience this with all of you. 2 images will always remain in my mind. The atmosphere in the Sunderland dressing room and the picture after the Watford game. We were a unit. I wish each of you only the best, good health and a bright future. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Finally, I want to say thanks to the passionate supporters of this great football club. I will never forget all the amazing memories that we enjoyed together. You make this club such a special place to be a part of with your passion that you showed throughout, and I will miss you all so much. This summer has been a difficult, and in the end, the club and I came to the mutual decision to part ways. I understand the different thoughts and reactions to everything that has been going on during these past few months. I am extremely grateful to have had this opportunity. Even during the difficult moments and setbacks, I have always continued to feel the support from everyone. I take so many special moments away with me, and that will remain in my heart. We achieved a miracle together, and that will always be something truly exceptional. I wish everyone associated with Wednesday my very best. I will never forget you, the gaffer. It could have been so much more, Danny. Like the way we bought in, man. I don't want to forget the positives. I've not backed a manager that much in a long time, right? So yes, I'm disgruntled at the way it ended. It's like a bad breakup, isn't it? You were like, I'm trying to remember the good times, but all I'm currently thinking is the crap that happened on the way out. And that's what this is. And I'm sure I will always look back on that first season as spectacular. The feeling of a Wednesday fan feeling like we were going to make our way back. Chansiri slowly sort of grasping his place at the head of the club back. You know, he'd kept quiet, he'd appointed the right people, and then he does a Chansiri all over again. The last time he would ever have gotten away with doing a Chansiri as well, because no fan in their right mind, and I'm sorry if you are one of those that still thinks Chansiri should be anywhere near this football club. I don't know what's wrong with you, and I don't know what to tell you. But he basically had a chance to turn it all around. It's gone. And now we need a new owner and we need a new manager. I think we've got Henrik in there. I'm pretty certain we've got Henrik Pedersen in there. But it's ended like this. So close to the start of the season. No transfers in. Transfers out. We lost all our goals that were in the team. We've lost the manager. The season starts. We're linked with youth players for the academy to bolster the academy, etc. They're going to be in the first team. We are in trouble. We are in real trouble. Henrik has got a hell of a job in his hands. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about Tomo in this. We'll talk about him in the podcast more. A special shout out for Chris Powell, who, to be honest, for me, was all the energy behind Danny Röhl. He was such a good assistant that he bought into the club. He was, hi-ho silver line. He was there. He was just full of energy, full of enthusiasm, full of connection with the fans. And I'm actually, this is a definite. I'm more sad to see him go than I am sad to see Danny Röhl go, because Chris Powell bought into everything Sheffield Wednesday. And I think with all that's gone on, it was quite obvious he probably wasn't coming back here. So I'm gutted to see him leave. And that's the big thing with Chris. We already kind of knew about the Sasha Lenz thing and the Sal Bibbo thing. So again, we'll talk about more on the podcast with that. But where do Wednesday go from here? The manager's left, mutual consent. We've probably got nothing out of it. Henrik steps in. We're about to face the season. We will talk about all of that on the podcast. If you are watching this after the fact, the podcast's probably already up. Click on the channel. Go check it out, the Talking Wednesday podcast. But under this video, I want to know what you think. Are you a neutral rival fan? Are you a Wednesday fan? I want all the opinions in the comment section. Just where does this leave Sheffield Wednesday going forward? And the timing of it, what does that end up meaning for us? I'm not confident. But for now, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all those things, and keep watching right here on Dexterity Box.